but we are gonna start the event now, and she's gonna connect later. So she is the marketing representative for Escp Europe. So basically today we are here to speak about how to join a master in management in France. So you will see that through us you can apply to Audencia, EM Lyon, ESCP Europe, HEC, and SMA business schools. So it's only with one application that you will apply to the 5 schools at the same time. So there are only 2 sessions left to start in September 2018. There's one that finishes in a week, so on the 20th of February, and the 4th one finishes in April, on the 15th of April. So you still have a month or two to finish your application. In order to apply to the 5 schools, so you apply to the website joinasschoolinfrance.com, and you will see that you have some explanations on the website. You have all the documents that that you should upload, so all the information. I think my colleague is back. I'm gonna try to. Gina, you back? Wait, up. I think she's back. So let's see. So yeah, so basically you also have information about the written test you have to take. So for the 5 schools, you need to take one test, which is the GMAT, the GRE, or the TAJ-MAJ. And if you didn't study in English at least 3 years, you will also have to take an English test, which is TOEIC, TOEFL, or IELTS. So I think she's trying to connect right now. I think she's connected. We can see her. Jim, can you hear me? I will just check if I can hear you. No, I can't. Wait. Let's see. Can you try?
Hello,
It's
can you hear
fine.
me?
Oh, perfect. Yes, I can. Okay. So I was
Okay.
just explaining so the process, how you can apply, and the numbers of sessions that are left for this year. So 2 sessions, one in February and one the 15th of April. So here you have Jean. So she's in charge of marketing at ESCP Europe, and she will explain you more about the master in management and the specification about applying to ESCP Europe. So Jean, a grande école is very specific to France, and some candidates may not know exactly what it means. Could you explain to us what it means, grande école?
Sure. The Grande École system is a French specialty. It's actually Grande École are specialized universities in France. Each Grande École is specialized. So we're a Grande École of business, but they're also Grande École of engineering and Grande École of sciences. The Grande École system is actually they're the most elite schools, if you will, in France for those specific disciplines. We're not part of a university. We're a separate school. So we're ESCP Europe Business School. Also in the group is, for example, EM Lyon Business School, HEC Paris Business School. So we're all business schools involved in the SIE process, or join a school in France. Sorry, I'm using the old name, aren't I?
It's okay. It's okay.
Sorry about that. Anyway, that's the Grande École in a nutshell.
That's perfect. Thank you very much. So indeed, as she says, we have 5 schools. So when you apply directly to the 5 schools, and all the steps are the same for the 5 schools. So basically, the eligibility process, you need to be less than 30 years old. You need to have obtained at least a bachelor out of France. So those are the 3 specificities. And then you have the eligibility to the interview phase, which is you don't need to be eligible to the 5 schools to take the interview. You can take the interview for the 5 schools, for 4 schools, for 3 schools, and you can take the interview in the city of your choice. So it's a face-to-face interview in the city that you chose, so in your country. Um, Jen, can you explain to us what are the sorry, not that one. What are the specificities of the Recipe Europe Master in management? I know there are some.
Sure. Yeah, ESCP Europe, what we do, we really focalize, my goodness, that's the French word, focus on intercultural management. And the way that we do that is we teach people how to understand, we teach our students how to understand and learn how to work with people from other cultures. Now, the best way to do that is if you actually travel to other countries. As you may know, if you're interested in coming to study in France, perhaps you're very far away. The best way to learn about France or about other countries is actually to go there and meet the people, speak the language. So that's what we're doing at ESCP Europe. We are actually a school with 6 different campuses. So we have our students study on at least 2 different campuses. They can study in a minimum of 2 over the course of the 2-year study period and a maximum of 4. So those are the main special things, the USP of ESCP Europe, if you will. We also have 35 specializations for people who want us to concentrate more on finance or marketing or lots of different subjects. And we have 27 double degree programs with partners around the world.
That's perfect. So students can choose to study at USCP Europe and then to do an exchange program in another university?
Yes, they can. They have the choice both to stay within our school, again within 6 different cities. We're in Berlin, London, Madrid, Paris, Turin, and Warsaw. So they can just remain within our school, or they can even go farther afield to one of our partner universities as an exchange program or even a double degree in China and the US and India and Brazil and lots of different exotic places if you want to do more than just a European study.
That's really nice. So we saw that Recipe Europe is the perfect example of a European school, but you have some like the students who apply through us mostly choose to come to France. So why do you think France is such a special destination, and why do you think it's perfect to do a master in management?
Well, France is, from an educational point of view and from an economic point of view, France is the 7th largest economy in the world. So it definitely plays an important role in the world economy, as well as being a member of the European Union. The European Union is the biggest market in the world. So it makes a lot of sense to come here to study management. The level of education in France is known to be excellent, particularly in the Grande École schools, because we are specialized. We've been in existence for a long time. For example, ESCP Europe was founded in 1819, so this is not a new phenomenon. The other schools in the joint school in France also have, were founded a long time ago. They may have changed names and merged and things like we love to do, but we've all been around for a long time because it is a very old, well-founded system. And the last thing for me, which is important, and I think it plays an important part of your choice, is it's great to live here. France has great food. France has great wine, if you like wine. It has the arts. We're spread around France. Even within France, it's just so rich culturally with, Paris and all the monuments and the mountains, and we're on the Atlantic Ocean and the Mediterranean and the English Channel, and we're close to lots of other countries. I mean, that's, as far as the student experience is concerned, France is just a great place to be. and I can speak from experience.
That's great. I know that, so you speak perfectly French, but do you think that people who come to study at USCP Europe and who learn French, do you think that it is it is obviously a skill to have on the international market, so what do you offer at USCP Europe? Do you offer French classes as well next to the Master in Management?
Yes, absolutely. Sorry, there's a little bit of a time delay, so sorry if my answer is late. There's a time delay between you speaking so vague and when I'm hearing it. Yes, and this is probably true with the other schools in the Joint de France, but for us in particular, if students who are coming here for the first time don't have any language training or even just want to bring their French language up to speed, although it's not necessary to take speak French to take the classes at many of our schools. You can take the whole program in English. It's definitely recommended to learn the language of the country you're going to. So for Escp Europe, we offer classes for free for a week before the classes start. In fact, I just met an American student at lunch today who said that she came in and it was really intensive. It was 6 days, so from Monday to Saturday, 6 hours a day.
Wow. That's
so they get a really intensive class to begin with, which is a great way to do it. And then throughout the semester, depending on their level, they get between 1.5 to 3 hours additional French class per week.
That's perfect. Also, you may not know that, but France is the fourth largest destination to welcome international students. So beside, of course, learning French and being able to interact with French students, you will also be in a network with international students and be able to live as well with a lot of people that are exactly in the same situation as you, which is also important when you travel from a continent to another. So I know you are also very interested in what comes next. So of course the master in management is important, but it needs to lead somewhere. So the schools here in France, so the schools of management, really help you in that process of first finding an internship and then finding a job, or even building a network for yourself, so a network of students and professionals. Jenny, can you tell us maybe what are the career opportunities after a master in management, and maybe a few examples of students who just finished and the type of job they get? And the question is linked a little bit, but also about the companies and the institutions and what kind of action USCP Europe takes to help the students. It's a long question, so take your time.
It's a French specialty. French are very good at asking very long questions, 3-part questions. And by the time I finish answering the first part, I've forgotten the other 2.
It's written down, so you should be fine.
Yeah, it's a good thing you sent me the slides beforehand. No, I'm just kidding. So actually, I want to touch on something really briefly that you mentioned. Another really good thing about studying in France is it's very action-oriented or practical-oriented. So the internships are a very important part of the education, especially in business schools. So you're not only going to be learning the theory in class, you're going to be going out and doing internships, taking gap years if you'd like, that we encourage students to do if they have the opportunity, so that you can actually start applying the things that you've been learning, but also try different types of jobs. Let's say you're not sure if you want to go into marketing or consulting. Well, you do an internship in these different fields, and then you can have a better idea of what kind of career you'd like to start upon graduation. So that leads me to the next part of my answer, which is what are the career opportunities after a Master in Management? Well, one of the good things is that, especially as compared to a specialized master's, so a Master in Finance or a Master in Marketing, the Master in Management touches on all of the skills that you need to work effectively in a company. So that means, of course, it's going to lead you in lots of different job opportunities afterwards. Although it is true that most business schools, for this type of general management program, we're graduating students into positions mostly in consulting, in finance, and IT. For example, at ESCP Europe, and it's similar to the other schools in the Join a School in France group, 27% of our most recent graduates join consulting firms, 26% finance, and 6% IT. So you see there's a huge drop from those two, consulting and finance. And just for fun, I looked right before this presentation to compare it with an MBA. And the MBA is actually the same. The biggest percentage is financial services and banking. And the second one is consulting. The third one is IT. But then they have more varied, I think, spread of job opportunities afterwards. So then, whereas we'll go from 26%, 27%, 6% will drop down to 1% of lots of different types of jobs. They have a more varied percentage of the different types of jobs they go into afterwards. But long story short, you can do lots of things after the Master in Management because it is a general management program. We have people who do, of course, are starting their own companies, people who are joining NGOs, people who are going into anything from supply chain to corporate finance to capital investments. So there's just lots and lots of different possibilities.
Perfect. So, as I read the questions, as a European school, do you offer other language classes in the Master in Management, or only French? She's speaking about
No,
Spanish
absolutely.
or German.
Yeah, and actually, this is we actually require our students to speak 3 languages upon graduation, because now it's no longer sufficient to speak 2. You have to speak at least 3 languages. Till now, maybe soon will be 4, but up until now, it's only 3. So we teach, we do teach the other languages that we from our campus countries. So yes, of course, we teach German, Spanish, Italian. Actually, we don't speak Polish. Teach Polish yet, but we also teach Greek, Arabic, Russian, Chinese, Mandarin. So yeah, there are also other opportunities to taking language classes at Escp Europe.
Okay, and do you maybe have, so you spoke about the partners and the career opportunities, so I'm guessing you are linked very closely to the big companies, and do you have CEOs or companies representative who come to the school, and maybe they can take the students' CV if they're interested, or maybe some events where the candidates can just give out CVs and learn more about career opportunities? More like concrete,
Yes,
maybe?
yes, absolutely. I mean, again, in France, because the Grandes Écoles are known as the best source of students for companies for business. It's not an MBA in France. It's Master in Management. So when companies want to recruit, they're coming to the business schools. And so for ESCP Europe in particular, for example, we just had the CEO of Renault, French car company, who was here, I think it was about a month ago. He's the sponsor of our new MBA class, and we signed a partnership, and they have recruiting events directly at ESCP Europe on our campus. Lots of other companies do the same thing. They bring in their HR people. They actually are selling the company to our students because they want our students, because we have good students. So they're actually presenting their company. They talk about the different job opportunities in there, and they actually meet one-on-one with students as well, of course, taking CVs and helping them to find both internships and employment. So yeah, lots of opportunities of that nature at ESCP Europe, but again at all of the Join a School in France schools. We also have job fairs. We just had ours, the one in Paris. Well, we had one in Torino in the beginning of this week on Monday. We had one in Paris on January 19th where we had over 100 companies come and participate. They had their own stands, and our students went there to meet with their HR people. So great contacts with companies you'll get from our schools.
That's very interesting. On a more, I would say, technical, and that's like more regarding the process, before entering the schools. So of course the candidates have to build an application and take an interview. Do you expect the students to have a defined, like a really precise idea of what they want to do? Or it's just more like a general, or just show their motivation to come to France? Or do they, even at that age, have to have like a really precise project of what they want to do? Okay.
That differs from school to school a bit. I know even within the Join a School in France group, ESCP Europe does not expect students to have a set professional project. We're assuming that you're young, you have none or up to a year and a half, 2 years job experience, so you're not really sure where you want to take your career. That's one of the reasons why you're coming to study with us. So we are not looking for a set professional project. If you have one, that's great, and we'll listen to you and we'll encourage you to do so. But we don't expect that at all.
And even after all the classes you take, you may even want to change your professional project, even if it was set before entering Escp Europe. There's a lot of questions about the process to apply. So it is a common application to the 5 schools. You will find all the documents you can upload on the website. So it's basically the normal documents such as transcripts, enrollment certificate or diploma, ID pictures, but also 2 letters of recommendation. Those can be academic or professional. And you will also need to take an English test if you didn't study in English, or and a written test, so which is GMAT, TAJMAJ, CAT for the Indians, and GRE. You will also have to, you will have the opportunity if you made eligible to take an interview in the city that you choose. So we can go from Beijing to Chennai to San Francisco. It's really everywhere in the world, and the alumni from the 5 schools are actually doing those interviews. So I don't know if you want to answer that. It's really up to you. If one candidate asks, what will my application be the most judged on? The reputation of the university, the grades, the degree, the GMAT? I'm guessing everything matters if you ask for it. It's like you will consider the application as a whole thing, but maybe you want to answer?
Yeah, what I can answer is like all of the schools, I think. Well, I'll just answer for ESCP Europe on this one because I'm not sure about all the schools. But we have put less importance on the GMAT in recent years because we have found that access to GMAT training is not even around the world. So, in some countries you can have access to GMAT classes fairly easily. You have, people have the financing to pay for GMAT classes so that they can prepare so they're getting better scores. Whereas in other countries, they don't have access, they don't have the financing, so it's pretty uneven. So we definitely look at the GMAT. It's a very strong indicator, but it's certainly not the only one. What ESCP Europe is looking at mostly is I don't know that I can really say better or less, but what we're focusing on mostly is the reputation of the university, the transcripts, so your grades, and the GMAT. Those are the 3 most important. If you have a bad or a GMAT that isn't great, then your university better be very good, and your grades better be very good to even that out. Because we're all very selective schools as well. I mean, we're looking for the best students around the world, so that's why I'm kind of insisting on you have to be excellent in as many areas as you can. The motivation letter is important, so we get to know you. That's especially helpful in the interview stage because we have an idea of with whom we're speaking, and we can kind of formulate our questions based on that. Yeah, those are the recommendation letters.
Yes.
Excuse me.
So on another topic, some French-speaking students apply, and even though they speak English, they don't know if they should answer the essay questions in Spanish. In English, not Spanish, in English or French, or if they should choose a French or English for the interview. Honestly, I talked a lot with jury members, and they usually say that it's the language you feel the most comfortable in. Because anyway, during the interview in French, you will have a 10 minutes period in English where you can prove that you are able to follow classes in English and that you understand enough to enter one of the schools. So it's really the language that you feel the most comfortable in. And of course, the essay question, you can answer them in English and do the interview in French, or the opposite, answer in French and do in English. It really doesn't matter. It's as you want. So it's all
Can I
on
just
my
add
side.
something on the essay question?
Of course.
Yeah, sorry. It's just I just want to say, don't have somebody else write your essay because we can tell right away. It's better if you write your essay. I mean, it's. Oh yeah, that's the reality. I mean, especially for MBAs, it's worse for MBAs. But we can tell when somebody else has written your essay. We want to hear from you. Your English or French doesn't have to be perfect. We really want to get to know you, and we want to know what your motivations are. So don't. If we can see if it doesn't match with everything else, we can see if it's too perfect. So please don't bother doing that because it's going to be points against you.
That's perfect. Thank you for the tip. So thank you very much for attending. I'm gonna write my email address actually. So you can write to me if you have any question about this session, which finishes next week, or the next one that finishes on the 15th of April. So don't hesitate to ask any question, and yeah, good luck in your application, and don't forget to do your motivation question on your own. Okay. So thank you, Jean, for attending this webinar as well. Bye-bye. Maybe you want to add something.
Okay.
Sorry. Do you want to add something? It was
No, I'm fine. No, just good luck, everybody, and make the right choice. Come to France, and I won't say come to Escp Europe because that's an obvious.
Just
have a great day.
Last thing, are there as many candidates in each session? I think the last session is the one where there are the most candidates, but it doesn't mean you have less chances to enter one of the schools. It just means that there are more candidates, because students usually finish at the last minute. It's just the way it is. Okay. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.